am halfway or just about through the month of December, and I wanted to show you the first half of my December daily. I have stayed on top of it, although there was at least one day where I had to do 2 days worth of stuff, but whatever. I did not go into this with any foundation pages. I went into this blank. All I did was set up the cover, and every day I have been doing a memory of Christmas's holiday seasons past. I have a couple of videos up already of specific pages I've done, but today I'm going to just show you what I've got so far and kind of give you the backstory on each of them. So if you're interested in that, keep on watching. This is from when I was 16, and the only thing I wanted for Christmas was VHS tape of Independence Day, and I didn't get it because everybody thought someone else was getting it for me, and I got really upset. I didn't cry, but I thought I was gonna cry, and I wound up getting it with my Christmas money. But this is my first December daily page. I was really stressed out about it. I filmed this, so I'll link that up above somewhere. But my favorite thing about this is taking the Brent Spiner as Dr. Oaken picture, adding the Santa hat. I kind of want to pull that out and laminate it and save it, but I'm gonna keep it in here for now, I think. Next, I did Leon. My parents had a little train with like individual cars that spelled out Noel, and they rearranged it to spell Leon. We're not a very religious family, as in not at all when I was a kid. And so it was just kind of one of our traditions. And thankfully, a bunch of you in the comments of my Instagram gave me some suggestions on where to look to get a Leon train of my own. So I'm gonna have to go figure that out. For this one, I used black cardstock, a white Uniball Signo broad pen. I lettered the words Leon on sticker paper, stuck it on top. I think this is a piece of paper from an old Planner Society kit, and then I used this new Hearth and Hand, or whatever the fuck it is, the Fixer Upper People washi tape. And I didn't mention over here, but black cardstock, red cardstock, these two pieces right here were from a Project Life kit that has Christmas shit that I've been using. My third day, I showed Les Mis, the movie. Now, we saw, my husband and I, my kids were at their dad's, and we went on Christmas Day to see Les Mis. When it premiered, at the first showing, I got a t-shirt, and I think a keychain too. It was pretty rad. And I really enjoyed the movie, except for Russell Crowe as Javert, because holy shit, could he not sing? Oh my God. And so I decided to do this naughty or nice because Aaron Tveit is hot and Angel Ross is one of my favorite characters. So I had him as my nice because he can sing and he was great. And him is like, what the hell, man? And talked about how we watched Les Mis every year on Christmas now as like a tradition. This card and all of these little bits are from that Project Life kit. And then this I cut out of red cardstock, and these came from one of my scrapbook pads. I just cut those out. Now I did a time-lapse video on this one with my question of whether or not the Who's are cannibals. Now, if you really want to hear my thorough explanation of my thought process on this, I'll link that video up above. But this basically has to do with Who hash. Corned beef hash, made of corned beef. Who hash, is it made of Who's? Question mark. So I drew the Who hash and the Cindy Lou Who, and I added the blood. That is blood right there. And I put them on sticker paper with colored pencils and Pigma microns. And then I stuck them to this textured adhesive cardstock, cut out some cardstock, and again, the little embellishments are from that Project Life kit that I'm using the shit out of this month. Next, I talked about how my sisters and I every year gave my dad Star Trek figures for Christmas because he was a big Trekkie. We're all big Trekkies. And I used this picture of a Wesley Crusher one and then had Captain Picard coming out of the stocking, another thing that I kind of want to save and laminate with Shut Up, Wesley. If you're a Trekkie or you at least have any idea of like the meme, then you get that. My daughter said that this was probably my weakest one so far. I added these little stars after I posted it on Instagram because it did feel kind of bare. But like I said, I'm not really a scrapbooker, so this has all been kind of new to me. But the cards came from Project Life. The washi was from that same Fixer Upper set. This day I was feeling kind of like, I didn't really feel like doing it, but I drew instead of scrapbooking using these two broad Uniball Signo pens, the black and the white one. And these are the turdy ornaments. These are ornaments that came from my grandma's tree when I was growing up. Well, not when I was growing up, when my mom was growing up. And my mom hung on to a bunch of them. And because they're very fragile, because they're like the old glass ornaments, over the years they've broken. We have 2 left, and every year hanging the turdy ornaments on the tree is a big, thing for us. And so yeah, I just doodled and lettered this because it felt like a good idea at the time, and I like seeing it on the craft paper. This one I was super proud of, not only because I drew these rollerblades, and spoiler alert, I drew one rollerblade, and then I used my light box and flipped it over to draw the other one on sticker paper so that they'd look similar, because I want to make sure they kind of looked like they went together as a set. I used scrapbook paper with a white pen on top of it and the same fucking set of washi tape I've been using. And then this is a vellum Post-it note. that I got from, I think, a Studio Calico kit hella days ago. And I wrote on it with Sharpie, like just a regular Sharpie. And I used it because this was the year, if you're watching with kids, cover their ears, that I learned the truth about Santa Claus because of the rollerblades. So what happened was, and here I covered it with the spoiler alert for Instagram, and then here's the story. And the card is Project Life. I asked for rollerblades that year. I was almost 14. I went out it was like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I was thirsty, so I got up to get a drink of water, and the house was dark except for the tree. And I looked over by the fireplace, and my sister's stockings were full and mine was empty. What I didn't know was that my parents were in the garage partaking of herbal refreshment before they came out and finished. But I was like, oh my God, I must have been so fucking naughty this year that they didn't give me my rollerblades from Santa or whatever. And so I went to bed, cried myself to sleep. In the morning, my sisters came to wake me up. I was like, no, I don't want to go out there. They're like, yeah, come on, Santa came. I'm like, I don't want to go out there. So I finally went out, and there was my stuff. And I was like, wait a minute. So I point blank asked my parents later. They were like, yeah. And then they were like, don't tell your sisters. So that was how it happened. Trauma. Now this one is one of my favorite, I think it looks really pretty, but it also is one of my favorite things. I have a manger scene made out of pipe cleaners. Now we're missing a wise man. I don't know where he went over the years, but it has like 2 wise men left, some sheep, palm trees, a little manger, Joseph, Mary, a shepherd, an angel, and of course, little pipe cleaner baby Jesus. My great grandma made this from an article in some fucking women's magazine like McCall or Red Book or Women's Day or something way back in the day, and it's been handed down. It's our heirloom. Again, not a super religious family, but the pipe cleaner manger scene has always been one of my favorites because it is something kids can play with because you can always just bend it back into shape. You gotta replace some sequins and shit over the years, but no big. This is the Bumble. Now, if you recognize him, he is the abominable snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. My husband loves the Bumble. It's probably one of his favorite characters from any of the Rankin and Bass Christmas, specials, the stop motion or whatever. And so we found this little, like, I don't know, like a 1.5 foot tall lighted Bumble that we actually have up by our Christmas tree this year. And I will insert right here a picture of it. We love the Bumble. There was a giant, like 5 foot tall one that I saw at Home Depot that I almost bought to surprise my husband, but it was like $90 and I wasn't prepared to spend that much. But for this page, I drew this whole Bumble situation on sticker paper and colored it with cardstock. Colored it with Tombows and outlined it with Pigma Micron. And then writing on here was the white Uniball Signo and a silver Sharpie. Like this silver metallic Sharpie was what I used to do the lettering. Now this was 2 days that I did, but all in the same theme. We've gone up to Oregon where my sister lives a couple of times now to celebrate Christmas. Normally we don't because, like I said, you get kind of snowed in. But one year I went with my ex-husband, my sister and brother-in-law, and then all 3 of our kids at the time who were little guys. And they were all in one minivan driving up there. We got stuck in a fucking snowstorm. And we had to stop at this sketch-ass gas station. And my sister and I took the kids into the gas station where there were these kind of creepy-looking people that were there sort of oogling us while my brother-in-law and my ex-husband had to put the chains on the car. So that was one trip to Oregon. Then one year, my current husband, and I took the kids up there. It wasn't supposed to snow. As we were getting up there, it did start snowing. And rather than put chains on, we just sort of crept along at a slow-ass pace to get to my sister's house. And when we got there, we were hella snowed in. Barely left the house the whole time we were there, and we even had to stay a day longer because the snow. It's California people. My husband can drive in snow. He's from Long Island, but I was like, holy shit, this is cold. To make this spread, which I really like how it looks, scrapbook paper, I have this adhesive textured cardstock that I got like in a pack from Silhouette, and I have the light gray and the white kind of forming the hills. All these bits here are all from that Project Life kit. And then these are adhesive chipboard letter stickers that I got from Michaels. And this is where I don't have to do back pages anymore. This was the last one. Now I should be able to do just a single page all the way through until I get to the end of December, and that will fill the book up. Though part of me liked having both sides, so I don't know how I feel about that. This I did yesterday, and this is on Bristol board, and I drew all the markers in with Pigma Micron, and then I painted them with Jane Davenport's mermaid markers. And then I wrote this with Tombow. It's just about how a couple years ago, my husband gave me the entire 96 count set of markers from Tombow, and I have used the shit out of it. I've had to replace individual ones, but probably one of my most used Christmas presents as an adult. And I love it. I love Tombow markers. Awesome gift. And he got it for a good deal too, so he didn't spend an arm and a leg for it. So woohoo! And that is where I am at for my December daily thus far, 12 days in. I haven't decided if I want to keep going on the back, because if I do, then that means I'm only going to get like this far and there's going to be a whole bunch left. If I do single pages, then it'll get me all the way to the end. I just don't know. I just don't know, but I love how this looks too. So what do you think? Should I have less pages full but do it on every side, or should I just fill it up to the end and have blank pages on every side and maybe just stick pictures or something here? I don't know. Why don't you let me know in the comments? And if you're doing December daily, have you stayed on top of it? That would be awesome to know as well. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.